Welcome, ladies and friends. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on another episode of That's What She Said. You may notice we are in our new studio space in downtown Champaign. We need to thank the Virginia Theater for our new location. This is going to be a lot of fun. And we'd like to thank our sponsor of today's episode, Christie Clinic. And now it's time to introduce today's guest host. Welcome. This is Heidi Cordes.
Hello.
She is the Director of Membership at the YMCA.
Absolutely. Yep.
And she is just a ball of fire and fun and really feisty. And so welcome, Heidi.
Thank you
Good
very
morning.
much. Thank you for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
Share with us and our friends watching, who you are and what you do in this world, this big wide world.
My name is Heidi Cordes. I work at the Stevens Family YMCA. I'm the membership director. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a loyal, ride or die friend. And I am usually the driver of the bus. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
That's it. That's all?
That's all I got.
That's it?
That's all I got. Yep.
Each week on That's What She Said, we like to share amongst ourselves and with you guys watching a story of the day, a topic that touches our lives. And so Heidi is joining us today because some people know and some people don't. But Heidi has a story to share. So why don't you share what you're going through right now in your world.
6 years ago, I was diagnosed with lupus, which is a chronic illness and it's autoimmune disease. So there's no cure for it. The medicine that is developed basically suppresses the symptoms. It's a very strange disease because it affects all people in a different way. It sometimes attacks organs. It sometimes can just attack your skin. It can do lots of different things. But for me, it's affecting my kidney, my right kidney. And with that autoimmune disease, your immune system mine is overactive, so it fights itself. So therefore, it suppresses itself. So, because it's extra strong, it makes it extra weak, and it fights my joints and my muscles and my tissue and the myelin around my nerves and my spine. So what that means is I have an umbrella of lupus, the actual illness, but each pole of the umbrella, it's a different diagnosis. So I take tons of medicine to combat the symptoms of all of these things that there's no cure for. So I take a lot of medicine, and people that see me take the medicine always say, "Oh, are you eating your Skittles?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I eat my Skittles 5 times a day, and some people see me eat my Skittles, some people don't. Lupus is an autoimmune disease, but it's also called an invisible disease.
Right.
It's invisible. And there is a website that I live through. It's called But You Don't Look Sick.
Oh,
so people will say to me, "You don't look sick." And I'm like, "I'm not."
I was just kidding.
So I always, it's funny because I do silly things, but my boss is this tough guy, Olympic wrestling champion and all these things, but he's scared to death of needles. So I will have my son videotape, and I'll have them jab the needle and send it to him. Oh, jeez. I know, right? So it's invisible.
Okay.
So when I'm like this, it's invisible. And sometimes he will even say, you forget. But he is the best because he'll remind me. He'll say, "You need to slow down."
And surrounding yourself with people who are supportive and who can point those things out.
Absolutely.
And your experience, I'm sure, then affects all of them, and the people that love you and the people that hear your story and your family.
It does.
You shared a story with me about your son in the emergency room. Come on.
We were in the emergency room. This was 18, I don't know how many months ago. 18 months ago, 20 months ago, I don't know. And so I had to spend a little bit of time at the hospital. And when I got out, we were at therapy and we were talking. And it was a intense. That night was an intense session. So then we got home. We were supposed to like turn the television down because that's supposed to be calming. We didn't. Television was up, and World War V exploded, and he said, "Quit keeping your illness to yourself." He said, "Your illness is our whole family's deal," because I didn't text him. He was in high school at the time. I didn't text him and say, "Hey, I'm headed to the emergency room." I waited because I didn't want to interrupt his day.
You didn't want to worry him. Yep.
Didn't want to worry him. I was like, they're going to give me some. They're going to give me some saline. They're going to give me some prednisone. They're going to send me home. So I didn't even call my husband. I called my girlfriend Janet, and this was before my mom lived here. So I called my girlfriend Janet. She came, picked me up, took me, got me hooked up. My husband took over. She left. My son shows up, and it was World War III. He said, "This is our family disease. This isn't just yours. You can't bottle it up."
He wanted you to know that this affects him
Yeah.
in his everyday life.
I remember my mom calling me when my parents lived in Arkansas and my dad had myasthenia gravis. And that's
it is. That's on our list.
Yeah. And so I was living in Champaign and they were living in Arkansas, and Dad was having a lot of trouble, and Mom would take him in and have procedures done and wouldn't tell me. And finally I called her up one day and I said, "What you've just done is you've taken away my ability to pray for my father, and I don't appreciate it." And it changed everything. It changed everything, because from that moment on, Mom said, "She's absolutely right, that this is a family deal and I have a right to know." So
Because the intention was to protect.
Correct.
But then when you step back, you go, I actually wasn't protecting,
Right.
I was excluding.
Correct.
right.
Yes. And that is, yes.
What
Yes.
is it that you would like us and women who are watching to take away about living with a chronic illness?
I would like women who are living with a chronic illness to share their stories. That's it. Tell everybody everything you know, because chronic illness is an invisible situation. It is often, most of the time, I think it's 70% of the time, it is misdiagnosed. It's, "Oh, you have a rash, here's some cream. Oh, you're just tired, you're just stressed." So I would encourage everyone that if you are dealing with that, or you've got something that the doctor can't figure out, you're the patient, which means you're the customer. You're paying for a service. And you should be able to say, "I want you to test for something else." The sooner you find out about lupus, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, I can't say his.
Yeah. Myasthenia gravis.
I can't say that. Scleroderma. As soon as you find that out, you can start having it pause versus something really bad happens. So women, a lot of us deal with different things, and I would say all of us have something that we kind of just sweep under the rug because we've got to get JoJo to soccer practice. We sweep it under the rug. And we'll talk about the work-life balance and getting the kid to practice, but we don't talk about like our bodies and us. So I say tell everything you know, because it's going to help your girlfriends.
Well, and the fact is, maybe there isn't anything wrong right now,
Right.
but it's right around the corner. So the more information
Yes.
we get from each other, the better able we'll be to attack some of that stuff if it happens to us.
And that's
So-
what our mission is, exchanging stories.
Yeah.
And we landed on that word because it's as important to tell it as it is to hear it.
Yeah.
And so maybe you just file that in your back pocket, and then when something does happen, you remember, oh, I can go talk to Heidi because she shared that experience with me.
Been there.
We actually, I have a woman that I know who was diagnosed with lupus 2 weeks ago. And she was telling me 3 weeks ago she's like, "Man." But I tell everybody they have lupus. I'm like, "Oh, no, you got lupus." I'm like, girl, I
It's
know
lupus.
you. I'm like, it's lupus.
It's lupus.
I'm like, you're part of the club. We're going to get jackets, whatever.
Matching shoes.
Like,
lupus
seriously,
shoes,
like
really, leopard
I tell
shoes.
everybody, it's probably lupus. We're going to go get that checked out. And I said, gosh, it really sounds like it. And she already has diabetes. And that's also an autoimmune disease. So a lot of them, they're called clusters. And I said, you should have them run some tests, and it came back positive.
Wow.
So she's been asking lots of questions, and I'm really happy to help. Like, it makes me feel good. I'm asking my nurses, I'm asking my doctors questions for her, because she's learning to grow a relationship with her doctor, because she's
new
paying
territory.
It's new territory,
Yeah.
but also she's paying for a service. And sometimes one of your episodes was what you don't want to ask your doctor. Guess what? I'm asking when I'm in line at Target and it rings up $40 and the sales sign says $20. I'm asking that cashier, hey, hold up.
Right.
That rang up wrong, but we don't do that with our doctors. But I'm blessed because I have the best doctor. So
I was going to say, your friend is blessed, who you helped, get to this point where she could discover her diagnosis. And, you're on her squad. You're on her team. Like, I'm lucky that I get to know you, and, you influence my life in a positive way. And that's what we hope to be for everybody.
Can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
Talk to me about the importance of a team, and if you had to say, these people are on my team, how do you build a team when you have a chronic illness, and who's on yours?
my entire family, my entire group of friends, if they're not on my team because I have a chronic illness, then they're just not part of my circle anymore, if that makes sense. Not that I had to cut anybody out, but the closer ones become closer. My girlfriends Anne and Janet and Angie and Jillian, my mom changed her life and moved here. I'm like at the Academy Awards making my thank yous.
Please,
on your
the
team?
floor is yours.
Was Stephanie Wetzel on your team?
Okay, you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephanie Wetzel was on my.
Yeah.
Woo. Stephanie Wetzel was on my team. She still is, because May is Lupus Awareness Month, and so I go to her. Right, and I put a new bracelet. I get new lupus bracelets every year, and I put purple flowers. That's our color. And I put, yes, Stephanie was on my team. Her parents are still on my team.
They're our neighbors.
She's someone who we lost to lupus, and when my family was around her, they got really scared, and so I said I wasn't gonna. Oh my gosh, this is
You don't sit by me without crying. Sorry.
give me a break. This is ridiculous. I have an aunt.
I asked you if we needed.
I didn't think so.
You said no.
I didn't think so. But before she passed, I would throw her wheelchair in my car, and we'd go to lunch and we'd go to movies. And yeah, she's on my team. I have an aunt who lives 3 hours away who can't support me every day, but she works with lupus awareness in the Quad Cities, and that's my Aunt Nina. So my team is pretty awesome, and the two most important people on my team are my husband and my son. They're my biggest cheerleaders and my biggest advocates. Sometimes when they have to scream and yell at me and make me cry to get a point across, they are not afraid to do it, and they're my biggest advocates, and I know they're my biggest cheerleaders. So yeah.
Well, Heidi, because you were willing to join us today, you are now part of the She Said team.
Woo!
So,
okay, good. Now I'm not crying. Now I'm in a club.
And it's a team of women who have something to say, and so we're glad that you came to share your story. And we've got more stories for you, so join us each and every week. And until next time, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
I did. I said it all. Everything. I said it all.
Today's episode was presented by our sponsor, Christie Clinic. We'd also like to thank the Virginia Theater, Texture Home, and Columbia Street Roastery for keeping us caffeinated.
Cheers.
Welcome to the Virginia. Ticket, please. Welcome to the Virginia ticket, please. Ma'am, no ticket, no show. No ticket, no show. No ticket, no show. No ticket.